Yes, Grapple Chat. NXT, July the 18th, 2018. My goodness, what an eventful and strange episode of NXT we just saw. Thank you guys very much for joining me. This is my review of the events that we just saw, and I must start out by saying that there was some definite shots fired at the main roster's women division. The women's division on the main roster, if they were not watching this, they should, it should be like uh, an assignment that they're sending everybody home with this weekend from Raw and SmackDown. Send them home with a DVD or a Blu-ray or a thumb drive with these women's matches on it, because this was a tour de force of exactly how to bring intensity into a match. Even without a long period of time, this is how to do a multi-women match. This is how to do a one-on-one women's match. Tonight was ladies' night, and I feel all right. All right, it was very, very awesome. Very awesome. First of all, thank you to everybody who's joining me in the chat over here. As you can see, this is a live review. I film these live most of the time about 15 minutes after a show goes off the air. So after Raw, after SmackDown, after NXT, after pay-per-views, takeovers, Royal Albert Hall shows, whatever. I'm here live at NXT, by the way. Everybody siphoned out of here. I told them they got to go because I'm trying to film, so they left. They didn't want to, but they're waiting for me outside. I'm going to be signing autographs and stuff. It's going to be great. But first, I got to give you guys the skinny. This was an incredibly good wrestling episode of NXT. There was also an awful lot of. It almost felt like an after takeover episode of NXT, because there was 3 matches, but there were a lot of little. I wouldn't even say little. There were a lot of lengthy segments showing off different athletes. The War Raiders, Street Profits, Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, backstage segment with the Undisputed Era, EC3, Kona Reeves. Like, I'm not even kidding. These are how many backstage segments and promo packages we saw for these athletes. None of them. Oh, and Ricochet backstage. I almost forgot. Ricochet was backstage. Gosh, man, it was a very, very heavily edited episode of NXT. Still good stuff, but just it felt like an after takeover episode of NXT. It was after Extreme Rules, but none of the NXT athletes were involved in Extreme Rules, so I was just a little bit taken aback. I think they could have used like one less of these or 2 less of these, and then saved them for next week, and then had one more match, because I know there's a lot of people that were left off this fight card tonight. So it's just my 2 cents of this is my 2 cents of kind of overall thinking about this show. So I hope that makes sense to people. So let's get into the events. Let's get into what actually got wrestled out here. So we started off the night with Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans versus Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai and Lacey Evans started off as just a pretty even contest. Lacey Evans definitely got the lead and started the brutality off early. Started grinding her chin into Dakota Kai's head, and she even had a spot where she put her in the Tree of Woe and then tied her boot to the top turnbuckle while she was in the Tree of Woe, and then hit her with this incredible Bronco Buster that just crushed I would say just drove the air out of the lungs of Dakota Kai. As this match went on, you saw, and this is one of the things that I really like about Dakota Kai, as the match went on, she got more and more brutal. She started fighting back more. It's like she starts off her matches so composed, and she just kind of reminds me of Bayley, just kind of a nice girl, you know. And then as the match went on, even her hair was telling the story, because her hair was up in these two little ponytail things or whatever, pigtail things. And then Kind of like Princess Leia buns, but they don't look as cool as Princess Leia. And then as the match went on, her hair started being in her face, and she started to have this look on her face of just like she knows that she has to do something more than just wrestle, because Lacey Evans was handing it to her, pretty much handing it to her. Incredible amount of just detailed brutality in this match, where there was mat based wrestling, where there were slams being done, but eventually Lacey Evans gets the win with the a women's right. I think that's what it's called, a woman's right. She knocks the heck out of Dakota Kai and pins her for the 1-2-3. But this was I would say, as I was saying at the start of the show, this was a tour de force of women's wrestling. This is how you do things. Holy moly! Um, I liked it a lot. It it impressed me. I thought they were going to give it to Dakota Kai, so it had a somewhat of a surprise ending as well. Because normally when a heel is ahead in a match for so long, you know that the face, the good guy or the good girl is going to win the match. But NXT um, broke that pattern that I've been asking them to break. I'm like, dude, if there was one thing I could say about NXT, if you go back and watch my last few NXT reviews, you'll see that if there was one thing that I said over and over and over again, it's that NXT is great, but I wish they would break that pattern to where we can't really tell who's winning. And tonight, they did it. It was awesome. So Lacey Evans gets the win over Dakota Kai. Then we got Kassius Ohno. Kassius Ohno came out. I love his theme song. I love his outfits. His outfits are so clean. Um, he fights a guy named Rick Ramirez. And man, as long as it took me to say his name, as long as this match was, Kassius Ohno just destroyed it. Game over. He destroyed Rick Ramirez in like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I don't know if it was shorter than the match this Sunday between Shinsuke Nakamura and Jeff Hardy, but it's probably rivaling that. It's probably rivaling that. It was a very, very short match, so they're gonna start building back up Kassius Ohno, which is great because he lost to EC3 recently, and then we just didn't see him anymore, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. I wish that um, when you lose to somebody, they find a way to keep you looking strong, especially if you're like main roster NXT, if that makes any sense. They obviously bring in people to get crushed. They bring in a couple people like Rick Ramirez here. He got crushed tonight. He wasn't some. They didn't have to crush Ricochet or either member of the War Raiders or bring anybody from Heavy Machinery out or anything like that. They just brought somebody in to take the loss. And I like that from time to time. It does get old if they do it too much, but it is very useful. So I'm glad to see Kassius Ohno getting back on track here. Um, oh yeah, he fought the logo on my stream. He fought the logo because I didn't have a picture of Rick Ramirez. Well, there you go. Kassius Ohno wins. As I said before, there were an awful lot of backstage segments. Of course, Undisputed Era came out. How do you do it? What is it? It's like this and like this. Undisputed Era, like do 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 do. They were backstage listening to their music. They got to get tired of that song, man. They're always listening to their song. I mean, I know it's an okay piece of music, but hearing it over and over and over again on loop everywhere you go, it seems like. Do they have a guy with the boombox? Dude, that'd be cool if they had a guy with the boombox. If that's what they did with Bobby Fish since he's injured. Bobby Fish is just always following them around with a boombox playing the Undisputed Era theme. Doo 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 doo, and he's like, that'd be cool. I would actually like that. It's like Undisputed Era colors. It's like black and gold. There you go. That'd be cool. But for some reason, their music is always playing everywhere they go. Backstage segments, promo packages, everywhere. They said, "Oh, we're the best. Whatever. We got our titles back, right where they belong, and all that." Nothing too crazy. Velveteen Dream had a very well put together promo package. Started out, he was just in a suit with his back turned, and then he snapped, and the lights, and just it was so cool. You just got to see it. If you didn't see it, I'm not going to try to explain it, but it was very charismatic, and it just fit his character very well. There was a promo package for Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa because they're going to be wrestling next week for the title. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool package, but I just don't like hearing Aleister Black talk too much. I don't know how successful he's going to be on the main roster. I really like his style. I love his entrance and everything, but I hope they find a way to really balance him out. You know, it's like, gosh, how do I put it? How do I put it without being insulting? It's like, okay, it's like you walk into a sushi restaurant and there's a guy who's supposed to be the best sushi chef in the world. All right, he's slicing the fish. He's got the perfect rice. He doesn't even have to remeasure it. He's got the rice. He's making it right in front of you. It's the perfect temperature, and he tops it with the gold leaf and the edible gold, and he's got the certificate that shows you like where the fish came from in Japan. Like it's just the legit sushi place. And then he walks back into the back to get some sushi rice, and he's back there, and he's like rolling dice, and he's like smoking, and he's and he's like giving five to his friends and talking and slang, and it's like it's just like it. Not that you can't do that, but it's like you go from one extreme to the other, and when it's Aleister Black, he seems mystical. There seems to be something dark and brooding, and something almost occult about him with all his shirts and his imagery and his entrance and his music. It just seems like there's this really cool and his physical presentation, his tattoos, his wrestling style, unconventional, all his striking. It's just like in the ring, it's all there, dude. All the presentation is put together with just the utmost um, pristine attention to detail. And then every time he cuts a promo, he's like, "I'm gonna beat you because that's what champions do. They be champions. I champ. You not champ. I champ." Like it's just such a diametrically opposed uh, presentation to me. I wish they would pull it together somehow. And that's gonna take. I mean, it's not his fault. It's just they gave him a character that's just way too cool to cut promos. But he's got to cut promos, so he's got to find his way out of that. I hope so badly that once this title is off of him and he moves to the main roster, because I know that's where he's going. The guy is incredible. The guy is excellent. I'm not dissing him. I'm just saying they got to find a way to bridge this gap because it does not compute. They don't fit together. It's just like Ember Moon when she cuts a promo. I'm like, are you a vampire? Or are you a werewolf? Which of these are you? You're not this. You're not supposed to be cutting promos like this. Which one are you? You're mystical. So, Aleister Black. Yeah, Aleister Black. Yeah, guys. Whatever. All right. I got like 300 superstars name in my head. All right. Aleister Black. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, just this promo package. It was like they showed Tommaso Ciampa talking trash to Aleister Black, and they show Aleister Black talking trash back, and it's just like night and day. It's like one of them is actually the character they're playing, and the other one is just playing a character. You know, that's the difference here. So these promo packages were very good, but that was it just kind of showcased the difference in effectiveness between these two characters. Next, we got. I actually believe this was before both of those, but it was the Street Profits. Street Profits just on the basketball court, just playing basketball and talking to each other and doing push-ups. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Street Profits. Hopefully we'll see them on TV sometime soon. They've been out. They've been out, man. They've been out. We got to see the War. Is it War Raiders or War Machine? I don't know. I don't know which one they used to be and which one they are now. It's just War something. The team of War something. I think it's War Machine. No, I think it's the War Raiders because they don't want two teams called Machine. So I think it's War Raiders. All right, but they were War Machine before. War Raiders. They tell you like about their whole history. They're using pictures from their older wrestling matches, other promotions that they've wrestled for, and I really like the way they put this together. They showed some of the tragedy that they've went through to just to get to the WWE, and um, it really was a good touch. I think that this was more effective to tell you who they are. But then again, do you really want to know who the War Raiders are? Like, it's like telling me who Akam and Razor are. It's like just they should just go out there and destroy people. Like I'm not too interested about like what beasts are up to. You know, they're supposed to be a beastly team that just destroys people. It's nice to get some backstory on these guys, but they look like Vikings. They look like they stepped straight out of like just like your incredibly epic Viking movie. It looked like they just stepped off the boat, right, went through the curtain, and came out to NXT. So showing me their backstory and stuff kind of makes their gimmick seem kind of like there's a disconnect there. And this is just me having attention to detail, and this is just me trying to let you guys know how these things made me feel here. I don't think that telling me their backstory was the best course of action here. I think that building them up, if you're gonna do a promo package for them, show them like cutting down trees and like throwing people around at like a Renaissance festival or something. Do something like that. I don't want to hear that. Oh, I grow flowers in my off time. Like it's cool that if that's what you do, good job, War Raiders. But I don't think it does wonders for their gimmick because they're a very gimmick-based tag team. They're old school like that, like the oh gosh, like Earthquake and Hurricane, or Earthquake and uh, the natural disasters, like uh, oh gosh, any of the classic tag teams from the past, the Road Warriors, just these teams, they were so gimmick, but they lived it, and it made you feel more of it. You didn't see these backstage segments or these promo packages where they're like telling you about what they do in their off time or how they made their way here. If I want to know if if they're going to tell me how they made their way to NXT, I want them to go and rent a old ship, an old replica Viking ship, and I want to see them sailing up to the coast of Florida, dressed just the same way they do in the ring. They sail up to the coast in Florida. They get out of their boat and they're like, "Who can we destroy?" And then there's like some dude on the beach who's like, "Ah!" And they grab him by his shirt and they're like, "Where's the people we can destroy?" And the guy's like, "I don't know. Like, are you wrestlers? I hear there's like this place called NXT where the best wrestlers are at." And they're like, "Wrestlers, NXT. Show us this place." And then it shows them later on, and they step out of the guy's like old Camry, old broken down Camry. They get out of the car and they're like, "What is this machine that we just rode in?" And the guy's like, "It's a Camry." And he's like, "Camry? What the heck is a Camry?" And then they like flip over the Camry and they walk into Full Sail and then they wrestle somebody. And that's like their backstory. They sailed here, they found Full Sail, and that's their backstory. I don't want to know that they eat at Denny's and stuff. I don't want to know that they eat at Denny's. Okay, I want them to be full fledged their character, because it just looks weird if they come out after all that. But anyway, this is just my thoughts on the subject. Who else? Who else? Who else? Oh yeah, EC3. EC3 was backstage. Not backstage, but he was like in the Full Sail facilities somewhere, and he's wearing his suit, and people are trying to interview him, and he just pulls out one of his shirts, and he's like, "You know what's top 1%? My new T-shirt that's on the WWE shop right now. You can get it." He pulls out his own shirt from his back pocket, and he's got it. And I'm like, how does he? It's so funny. He keeps walking, and then he comes across Kona Reeves. Kona Reeves is standing by the door with a white suit on, and all his gold chains and stuff. And he's like, that's a nice suit, custom made. EC3's like, yeah, it's custom made. He's like, that's a nice suit. Kona Reeves is talking. He's like, that's a nice suit, but it's not the finest. And he looks at his own suit, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's roasting him right now. He is roasting him. So then he goes, oh, and that's a nice watch right there. He's like, that's a nice watch, buddy, EC3, but it's not the finest. And then EC3 starts getting mad. You can see it in his face, and he's like, you know what? It's okay. Let me guess. It's not the finest. It's not the finest. Anyway, how much did this chain? He said, how many arcade tickets did this chain cost you? He got the ultimate like snapback on him, and he's like, "How about you fight me then? How about you fight me next week?" So next week we're gonna see EC3 versus Kona Reeves. This should be a good match. I was actually very entertained by their back and forth backstage. It was very funny, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. So that was the end of that. I'm trying to remember if there was anybody else who got a backstage or promo package. I think that's all the promo packages. Um, so we get to the main event. Main event: Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, and Candice LeRae in a triple threat match to find out who's going to be the #1 contender for Shayna Baszler's NXT Women's Championship. That's a lot of words, but it just means who's the next in line to catch this beatdown from Shayna. Because I don't know if Shayna's going to lose this title anytime soon, man. And if she does, it's weird. Anyway, this match was very, very presentable. Once again, this was ladies' night. Okay, this should be on loop. This match and the Lacey Evans Dakota Kai match, and a few matches from last week as well, should be just on loop in everybody's portable DVD player or their laptop, whatever they got on the bus on the way to the next show on the main roster. Whoever is wrestling on the main roster next week, I hope they use this episode of NXT as a guideline to show how to bring intensity in a short period of time in a multi-women match or in just a one-on-one match, because that's exactly what we saw here tonight. Intensity, brutality, getting the crowd into it. The crowd, I don't think there was a good 20 seconds where the crowd was not cheering their lungs out. There were incredible spots. These characters, people have come to enjoy them and actually care for them. Candice LeRae, just tugging the heartstrings with her performance tonight. Kairi Sane actually still selling, getting better at remembering what happened to her earlier in the battle, bringing some weight to these moves, bringing some weight to the damage that she's taking. I loved it. Of course, Nikki Cross, a $1 million athlete. I guarantee when she hits the main roster, if they treat her the same way as they've treated her here, and she gets even more of a limelight on her, she's going to be fantastic. She's going to be the thing that will shake up the women's division on either Raw or SmackDown. I know that Sanity is on SmackDown, but I don't. They obviously the WWE does not carry over the what happens in NXT to the main roster, or else we wouldn't have the same mentality about people getting called up as we do right now. They don't continue things. Bobby Roode was the ultimate great heel in NXT. He comes to the main roster and he's just smiling like Finn Balor, and he's a good guy. They just don't care. Shinsuke is the dominant artist destructor of all NXT. He comes up to the main roster, he gets like one match every other week, if that. Ty Dillinger, he's like the ultimate crowd beloved babyface. He comes up to the main roster. We don't see him for a month. Samoa Joe. The list goes on and on, man. So people saying, "Oh, she's going to SmackDown," you don't know that. Trust me, you do not know that. Especially if Vince McMahon likes what he sees with her, she's not going to SmackDown. So we'll see. But no matter what brand she goes to, she could be a breath of fresh air. She is awesome. This match was incredible. We saw a spot where Nikki Cross put Candice LeRae on, draping on the apron, and then swinging neck breaker to the floor. Then we saw Candice LeRae catch a. Well, before that, actually, we saw Candice LeRae catch a inverted DDT on the ramp. Kairi Sane off the apron with the what do you call it? Kind of like a front flip. A front flip senton across the chest of Nikki Cross. Everybody's laid out on the outside. There was not one part of this match that was just They just killed it every single second from the time the opening bell rang to the end. And also Shayna Baszler was seated on the announce team as well, just watching the match and just so cocky, so arrogant. I love the way she presents herself, and she's getting better on the mic as well. I'm glad that they're giving her these opportunities to talk on the mic more and put more of her personality out there, because I see her relaxing. I see her starting to just be the character that she's supposed to be here. At least I think that's what they're going for. So she was killing it. It was awesome. I like it. I like it a lot. So the match goes on, and Nikki Cross is looking like she's about to catch this loss. Nikki Cross for the loss. Candice LeRae, it's about to be her day. She goes for the pin, but previously Nikki Cross had put Kairi Sane on the top rope to go for like a superplex or something. In this match, there was a superplex spot, but it was Nikki Cross had climbed up to the second rope and had Kairi Sane ready for the superplex, but then Candice LeRae came from the outside, grabs her in a powerbomb position, and just power bombs Nikki Cross, which also superplexes Kairi Sane. So they just racked their bodies here. It was so incredibly awesome. But at the end here, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they framed it up perfectly to where you couldn't see Kairi Sane until she was already in the air, and you just see the elbow coming down like, ooh yeah, but just laid out, ooh yeah, off the top rope. The madness ensues for the 1, 2, 3. Kairi Sane wins and secures herself a rematch, a rematch of the finals of the Mae Young Classic. If you guys do not recall, Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane were the original two in the final match of the Mae Young Classic, where Kairi Sane won it. I don't know if it's going to be the same this time. I don't know, brother. Oh yeah. Will it be the cream of the crop? Ooh, I think it would be. And I think it's going to be. I think both of these athletes have come so far in a year since the Mae Young Classic. You've seen Shayna Baszler just fall into her own and come into a very good place. And also, Kairi Sane is getting better and better as we go along as well. So, ahoy, me mateys. We are coming into Doc. And it is about to be Kairi Sane versus the Grand Master, Shayna Baszler. Man, I think she's gonna snap her up. I think this would be a good time to show that Shayna has really become the champ that she should be, and I would love to see Shayna get this win against Kairi Sane, because I don't think Kairi's ready. But who knows? It's up to them. It's up to them. My goodness, man, so much fun. This NXT, if there were at least one more match, I would rate it a whole lot higher. This is, it's not a missable episode of NXT, so if you missed it, you still missed a lot. But I would say this is one of the less influential episodes, at least in my opinion so far. Maybe there's some stuff below the surface here, like these promos and these packages, like there was like some hidden meaning behind them that's gonna become apparent very soon. But overall, I'd have to give this like a 7.3, maybe like a 7.3. Not the finest. The wrestling was great, but just it really felt like an after takeover episode of NXT, and those are not normally the most incredible. It had me jumping out of my seats for two of the matches though, so I don't know, man. That's why it got a 7. If it weren't for those two matches, it would have got probably like a 5 or something. So I'm giving them props. Give it like a 7.3, maybe a 7.5. I give it a 7.5 because some of those backstage segments were pretty nice, especially the EC3 one. That got me laughing. So 7.5. All right, I'll give it a 7.5. That way it is thoroughly better than Raw, because honestly I had a lot more fun watching this than Raw. At least, well, Raw for the first hour was epic this week, but as a whole, nah. I don't know. Man. I love it though. What do you guys think? Let's find out what you guys' ratings are. What are you guys' ratings? As you guys know, and if you're watching this after the fact and you made it this far, I do this as a live stream. So every time the NXT or Raw or SmackDown or a pay-per-view or a special event like the up-and-coming Super Show that's happening in Australia, pretty much 15 minutes after any of these things, unless the one in Australia is, I'll probably still do it. Pretty much 15 minutes after any show, I'm going to be live and giving you guys my opinion and my rundown, my recap, my ratings, and also I want to know you guys' ratings. Let's see what people are saying. Let's see. 7.3 says OG King Spade. 6.3 says SkullCrusherPrincess. She's difficult, man. She's difficult. 6.5 says Blueprint. Oh boy. Sane's about to get knocked out. Finish. I actually agree with you. I agree with you on that. He's got the best finisher though. Oh my goodness. No rating. I missed it. Oh. Well, I'm sorry if I spoiled it for you, Second City. I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I'd say it's good. Good about 7.3, 7.5, somewhere around there. It's definitely passable. Something that I would, if you want some wrestling in your life and you didn't really like Raw too much, this might be a good way to put some faith back into WWE, at least for another week, and then find out what's going on with Raw and SmackDown. But I think it was fairly good, fairly good. And my SmackDown overall rating, I give SmackDown probably like a 7.75. It kind of had this like tinge of kind of like a who cares type of thing for a lot of the show. But yeah, that's my rating. I hope you guys enjoyed Grapple Chat. It is all about the Grapple Chat. It's all about the things that happen on the mat. It's all about the things. And that's that. Ooh, wait a minute. Rhymes? Thank you guys so much for being part of this. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the subscribing. And thank you to Bobby Rays, of course, for picking up his character for the the boss rumble and being the legit boss of the stream. Let's see if he can hold on to it for another week. Bobby Rays is the person who's come the closest to being the legit boss for a full week. So maybe he'll be able to pull it off this time. I don't know. I might have just reminded a bunch of people that could happen. So I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. What's going on over here? Sailor. Uh-oh. Hey, ahoy. Ahoy, Sailor. Thank you for the bits of destruction. Sailor hype. Sailor hype. Yo, Sailor hype. I like it. Thank you so much, Sailor, for the bits. 205 Live has been lit lately. Has it? Has it, man? Aye. Dude, I'd love to stream 205 Live. It's just people don't show up for it. People don't show up for it. It's hard to put all that effort and work into something when only like 4 people come hang out with me. But maybe I'll try it again soon. I'll wait for there to be like another dream match or another championship shot, and I'll stream 205 Live when something like that's gonna happen and see what the response is. Might be time to dip my toe back in the pool and find out the temperature there. I will try it. Gotta wait for there to be something cool. So maybe if you can keep me up to date on that, Second City, if you can let me know when something like major is gonna be happening on 205 Live. I mean, it's all good. I definitely love 205 Live. It's one of my favorite shows. They kill it. I just haven't had a chance to watch it recently, and I haven't had the support to go back to it, you know. So we'll see. We will see. If you can let me know next time they have like a title match or a number 1 contenders match, I'll definitely look into it. Oh yes. All right. So I will see you guys on the flip side. Thank you so much. Grapple Chat. Gritty Urban. Out.